Hello and welcome to Re-enthused. Today we are taking a look at, well, this, which is the Milton Bradley Vectrex. Now, generally if we're looking at a piece of machinery here, we tend to only look at things that are quite obscure or rare. The Vectrex, whilst it's certainly uncommon, isn't the rarest thing around. It certainly had a lot of videos on YouTube done about it, but it's also a machine I personally love quite a lot. So I wanted to do a video on it, and hey, maybe there'll be a few people out there who haven't picked up one of the other videos, but we'll see. Anyway, let's get on with it. So here it is. As you can see, it's a built-in CRT television, but it's not your standard CRT display. It has some slight modifications. This is a machine built around vectors rather than raster. So raster is what we see on a normal CRT, the way the sprites are displayed with the bar going across and a vector display is slightly different, and for the Vectrex, it basically means that most of its stuff's drawn using lines rather than blocks, what we call sprites. That means it's got some strengths in certain areas and some weaknesses in others, and there are some interesting ways of getting around some of the weaknesses as well. So yeah, it's an interesting machine. Right, so underneath here, there's a little bit of a thing we have to pull up. Come on, open up. This is always a bugger. There we go. So this comes down, then comes out, and that's your joypad, which came built into the system. It's quite nice. The joystick's quite good. The buttons tend to get very unresponsive after a while, and that's certainly the case with these ones. Also in here is a volume switch and also the on-off switch as well. And right there's some space for another joypad. You could buy separate joypads and do two-player games. There's also a light pen you could add to this as well, and things like 3D glasses, neither of which I own. The light pen, I could just build one. There's a schematic online for building one. Technically, I could build the 3D specs as well. They use a colour wheel system to synchronise up the 3D, but there weren't really that many things that used it, so there's not much point. Yeah, so yeah, it's a vector display. That means it's also black and white. At the point when this was made, vector displays were incredibly expensive. They were a big thing in the arcade at the time, and just a black and white one was incredibly expensive. A colour one would have been prohibitively expensive, and bear in mind this was a very expensive machine for the time, and it was one of the reasons why it failed, in fact. Yeah, so this was released in 1982 and cost around about $199 at the time. To put that in perspective, the Atari 600, which was really coming to the end of its life around then, was less than half that, and it was still at that point the most popular home console. Now, there's two things. There's obviously now the cost of the display was obviously the thing that killed this machine. It was obviously the first machine with a vector display built in, but it was also the only machine with a vector display built in, well, its mainline console. And the reason obviously being there weren't many people that were trying to be second onto the market for this because they saw that this was not working. Now, the other thing that was a bit of a nail in the Vectrex's coffin was that release date of 1982 was the year before the big video games crash, so it really did not have very long on market before people were not buying consoles very much anymore. And those things it's all a bit of a death knell. Right. The history is of the console has been talked about several times. It started, the first company selling it when it was first introduced, it was GCE. They ended up selling that part of it to Milton Bradley, obviously Milton Bradley being a big games maker, as in board games and stuff. But they also had huge toy lines, and so this was their entry into the games market, really. Yeah, it didn't work out so well. But let's turn it on. Now, it's really hard to capture exactly how nice this screen looks on camera. You really do have to see it with your own eyes, because the lines kind of just pop off the screen. It's very bright and glowy, so yeah, I'll show you, but it's it may not look as impressive as it normally does. Okay, so yeah, we haven't got a cartridge in, so this is the built-in game, and it's actually quite a nice clone of Asteroids. This is Mindstorm. I unfortunately do not have the overlay. Oh, I haven't talked about overlays yet. So overlays in a minute. I haven't got the one that comes with this game though, which is a shame. I could buy. Yeah, I think the fire button stopped working. That's good fun. I say about the buttons becoming unresponsive. Well, this is case in point. There we go. We're firing. Excellent. Right. See, it's don't know how this is coming across on the screen, but this is genuinely gorgeous. It's got a kind of it just looks so different from the machines available at the time. Right, let's get the display in the screen properly. Oops. Alright, let's put a game in that does use the overlays, and we'll explain the overlays a bit as well. So as you can see, yeah, that was a black and white screen. So to get around that, they came up with this idea. Well, they didn't come up with this idea. This idea had it pre-existed. There were some kind of built-in game machines, the likes of Pong and stuff, which did come with overlays as well. But they reused that screen. I've chosen at random an incredibly dull one. It's literally green because it's a football game. You know, we'll go with that. So the screen has little ridges which this can slot behind. Yeah, not always the easiest job. Stay. Right. Well, seeing as we've chosen the overlay for football, we want to put football in. Football is one of the very few boxed games I own. I say very few. It is one of two boxed games that I own. The other being the obviously much better Scramble. The games are not too expensive to get. There's the cartridge. It's a nice beefy cartridge. They're not too expensive to get unless you want the full boxed experience with the overlay, in which case they become much more expensive. Now, the cartridge slot is on the side here. Right, yep, the cartridge slot is on the side. It takes a bit of force to get the cartridge in, but let's try to turn it on now with football on. As you can see, we have a nice green screen now with the overlay. You probably hear that loud buzzing noise. That's normal. You can fix it, but I haven't. I've decided to keep it cherry, but yeah, you can fix it. See, I'm the highlighted glowing footballers. Oh, so close. They're not quite glowing as much as the camera would have you believe. Yeah, it's not a particularly intelligent game of football. Basically, if you've got the ball, you run slower than everyone else. But for its time, say bear in mind, when this came out, its competitors were the Atari 2600, the Intellivision, and the ColecoVision. This is pretty impressive graphics, especially with the animation as well. Right, I think that's enough of football. Okay, as you can see from the overlay, we've now got Scramble in. Let's turn that on. It's a nice gradient colour scheme for Scramble. Oh, Scramble has not worked because it is loaded up Mindstorm. Let's give that another try. There we go. I am a big fan of Scramble. Right, that's how you do bombs in. Yeah, Scramble was just designed to be on a vector. Whoop. On a vector screen. It's quite underwhelming compared to a lot of the other games. Because obviously some of the Vectrex games are just really nice with lots of graphics. I haven't got some of the better games, unfortunately. I do intend to increase my Vectrex collection at some point, but again, they are tricky to get, especially in a form that you want to get. I would like to get them, if maybe not with the boxes, but certainly with the overlays. You can get reproduction overlays, but I don't know. I like to have the original ones. Yeah, so it's just an incredibly unique machine. The Vectrex. You know, in an age where the home consoles were all very simple 2D sprites, this was just very different. And the overlays really do make a massive difference to the display as well. Right, let's turn that off. So I've got one more game that's got an overlay. And that is Clean Sweep, which is a very, very odd Pac-Man style clone with some fairly interesting additions. So it's that yellowish square in the middle there. That's kind of a home point that you have to go back to and effectively drop off the dots that you pick up. So, like Pac-Man, you're picking up dots around the screen, but you have to keep going back to the centre to drop them off, otherwise you can't pick up any more. So it's an interesting extra mechanic to the game. There we go. And we'll see, as we pick up dots, we get bigger, until we get to the point where we just stop picking up dots. So there we go. See, we're no longer picking up dots. So now what we have to do is get to the centre. And there we go. We get some score, and I'm not sure if the screen is supposed to be wobbling or if that's a sign that my Vectrex is going to need some work. Now, the reason why I tend not to get machines that have built-in CRT screens, there we go, that's the version of the power pill by going in the centre. The reason why I don't tend to get machines that built-in CRTs is because I am quite clumsy when it comes to repairing stuff, and I have more than once put my hand into a capacitor, which is fine really on low voltage machines, but as soon as you get to CRT level of voltage, you don't want to be doing that. And yeah, you know, don't mind admitting, I am not keen for that to happen. Alright. So that was the Vectrex, which I think is an amazing little machine. It's, well, not so little, I guess. But it's an amazing... I'll turn it off because the sound will just deafen us otherwise. It's an amazing machine. It didn't really get much chance in life. The price and the time when it was released kind of killed it. But it was a genuinely interesting addition to the gaming world. And so different from the machines around it as well. But yeah, if you can find one of these, I mean, the prices keep going up. It's a bit of a sad testimony at the moment in the gaming world where these prices are just being ramped up. Part of that being our fault, of course, YouTubers, because we keep talking about them. I have seen the best results come from actual auctions, so live auctions rather than eBay. You can pick up these boxed as well. I mean, I didn't get mine boxed, but you can pick up full boxed units. I saw one go the other day with 4 games for 90 quid. You'd be lucky to get 2 games for 90 quid at the moment, so that was definitely a bargain. I kind of wish I'd bid on it now. But yeah, if you can get one, I would say get one. Yeah, you've got the risk that it could break down. CRT screens are not infinite devices. They will at some point break down. They are hard to repair. You certainly probably won't be able to get any replacements unless you're lucky. But it's a genuinely good machine to own. It's just a great addition to the collection. There's a lot of things that I'd sell in my collection, and this has just never been one of them. This has never been one I've considered selling just because it's such a unique item. Anyway, let's be waxing lyrical about the Vectrex. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like. If you really enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the video or you have something else to say, then please leave it in the comments below. See you next time.